With the first pick in the World War III draft, the United States selects
Shalom. I would like to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakodash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Salutations to all you sincere Akim, pushing this word out across the four corners of the world. And I have an article from activistpost.com, and the title says, Americans searching, will I get drafted to war? Hits highest level since Iraq 2007 surge amid World War III threat. And this article was published on October the 10th, 2023. And before I get that, let's get right quick. Ecclesiastes 3:1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. Verse 2. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. And the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, planted this establishment, America, known as Babylon the Great, according to the Holy Bible. So now we are in those prophetic times. The Lord is about to pluck up this sinful kingdom, which is also known as the extension of the fourth beast, that little horn, when you read the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, about that statue. So now we're at the very bottom of that statue that represents the foundation. And once that foundation is overthrown, the whole body is gone. That's how you know through the Spirit we are at the door of Yahweh Shai's second return. And when you read Matthew the 24th chapter, the disciples came unto Yahweh Shai probably just asking him, like, what should be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And one of those many things, Yahweh Shai responded back by saying, you should hear wars and rumors of wars. And that's exactly why you're seeing these different skirmishes going on around the world in today's time. Boastful talks or speeches from these different global leaders about their nuclear capability, just conflicts between these different nations. And this is also an indicator through the Spirit and how you know that the true biblical Israelites are not back into their homeland. Because when you read Isaiah the 2nd chapter, it goes into how a nation should not lift up a sword against another nation. Neither should they learn war anymore. And that's not the case within today's time. Look at the skyrocketing of wars, crimes, violence, homicides, just going on throughout the United States. Which takes me to verse 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. So prophetically, within these times, we are definitely within the times of a time to hate and a time of war. Again, according to Matthew the 24th chapter, another indicator Yahweh Shai prophesied about in these end times, how the love of many shall wax cold. Less and less amounts of sincere acts of love, consideration, care, but to balance it off, because Yahweh Shai all about a perfect balance, we are witnessing this world being overflowed with iniquities. So a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. All right, so back to the article. Geopolitical and financial cycle expert Charles Nenner has warned that the world is teetering on the edge of a war cycle that could last many years. Nenner may be correct. The Ukraine war has been ongoing for 1.7 years, and just days ago, Hamas invaded Israel, sparking yet another dangerous geopolitical powder keg exploding right before our very eyes. On Saturday, former President Trump told the crowd in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that the U.S. is closer to World War III than we have ever been. I'm telling you, we are closer to World War III, Trump said, warning that another conflict could use weaponry the likes of which this world has never seen before. And these are the signs of our times. And that takes me to Revelation 11:14. The second woe is past, and the second woe is referring to World War II. And behold, the third woe coming quickly, and the third woe is referring to World War III. And that's why Trump stated, we are in grave danger. He was referring to the attack on Israel as a sign to World War III is coming. So the third woe coming quickly. And Trump also made a heavy statement by saying how we are closer to World War III and the weaponry are the likes of which this world has never seen before. And I like bringing out from time to time from Albert Einstein. He quoted, I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. And we already know through the Spirit that World War IV will never take place, because this World War III will be the end of all wars. So by Albert Einstein making that statement, he knew how devastating and terrible that he probably knew on a smaller level that the type of instruments and weaponry that World War III will be fought with, that the aftermath of it is going to be so catastrophic, the only choices of battle for so-called World War IV will be sticks and stones. And that takes me to Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood. So like I bring out from time to time, you watch different shows like Spartacus, Barbarian, or movies like The Gladiator, 300, and the list goes on. When those soldiers went to warfare, you heard those loud war cries on the battlefield, the ground shaking from the different soldiers or troops, and also the horses and different war animals. You heard the loud clashing between the swords, the spears, the shields, and the bucklers. So that would be considered as that confused noise. It was very chaotic out there on the battlefields. So right here it specifies, but this should be with burning and fury of fire. And the only mechanism in today's time can fit this prophecy can only be those intercontinental ballistic missiles. And hence the word inter, which is spelled I-N-T-E-R, which means between, among, or international, which links up with the prophecy within 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, the 13th verse. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, and how those arrows should be shot into the ends of the world. Hence, intercontinental ballistic missiles. So again, back in Isaiah 9:5, for every battle of the warriors will confuse noise and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fury of fire. And our forefather Isaiah stated through the Spirit in Isaiah 54:16, how the Most High created the smith that blew the coals in the fire, and how he was going to bring forth an instrument for his work, aka his purpose. And he have created the waster to destroy. All right, so back to the article. I'm gonna jump on down right here. And it says, on Tuesday, Israeli officials said the country's death toll exceeded 1,000 from the surprise attacks by Hamas that began on Saturday. In Gaza and the West Bank, authorities report 850 people have been killed in fighting there. It's not a war, it's not a battlefield, it's a massacre. IDF Major General Atay Varu was quoted as saying, you see the babies, their mothers, and their fathers in their bedrooms and their protected rooms, and how the terrorists killed them. It's not a war. It's something I never saw in my life, Varu said. We used to imagine our grandmothers and grandfathers during the pogroms in Europe. It's not something that we have seen in recent history. While the horrific scenes of the Hamas attack have gone viral on X for the world to see, some Americans are panic searching if they will be drafted as the conflict in the Middle East and Eastern Europe could spiral out of control. Google search data shows that will I get drafted to war has jumped above the February 2022 high when Russia invaded Ukraine and hit the highest level since former President George Bush announced the troop surge in Iraq in early 2007. That's beautiful for you proudful Americans to be in that fear mode because you are heavily induced with mirth, amusement, just pleasure and fun. But we are surely approaching those times, how it's stated within Isaiah the 24th chapter, the mirth of the land is gone. So all of that spirit of mirth, folly, and madness is soon about to be playtime over. And as you can see right here, this is a research timeline of just different Americans asking, will I get drafted to war? From 2004 until the present. And this also shows you that everything that you enter into these different search engines, it automatically saves into their database. So we have no privacy here. And right here it says, how old do you have to be to get drafted to war? It's another search phrase on the rise. And I was just looking up some information like over the years, the U.S. military has been struggling to recruit soldiers. And over 70% of Americans between ages of 17 to 24 are ineligible for service. And that's due to mental health issues, past drug use, criminal records, and also obesity. And to add on to that, that particular age range is considered as Generation Z, which is definitely has to be the last generation. So whenever this American government decides to do their military draft, these are the type of people that's going to war. You also have the happy people, referring to the alphabet gang. And let's not forget you feminists, you strong, independent women that want to be equal as men. So therefore, when they bring on this military draft, you're going to be a part of this military draft as well. And rightfully so. And just looking at these different photos of these different freaks and perverts that's supposed to represent the United States military really brings Ecclesiasticus, the 10th chapter, the 2nd verse, more into light. As it says, as the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. This is the outcome when you have an unwise judge, referring to the nobility of Esau Edom, into authoritative position. America is really a big joke, which is why these other nations are not taking you as much serious as they once did. While looking at this is really crazy. Just straight perverseness and disorder. But this is nothing but prophecy coming to pass upon you Americans. And that takes me to Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, the 16th verse. Thou art filled with shame for glory, drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of the Lord's right hand should be turned unto thee, and shameful spurring should be on thy glory. So this is what America is globally renowned for. This is a big stain upon your so-called legacy. And that's why the prophecies are fulfilling within Joel, the 3rd chapter, how the weak should say, I am strong. So going back to the topic of this article, Americans searching, will I get drafted to war? Hits highest level since Iraq 2007 surge amid World War III threat. So let's get this within the prophecy. And this is 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, the 31st verse. Even so, in those days, there should be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And the earth should be laid waste, and the fields thereof should wax old. And her ways and all her paths should grow full of thorns, because no man should travel therethrough. Verse 33, the virgins should mourn, having no bridegrooms. The women should mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters should mourn, having no helpers. And that's because a lot of these men within this American society are about to soon get drafted into this next world war. And once they get drafted to the Middle East, they're going to die there. Verse 34, in the wars should their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands should perish of famine. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack. And those plagues goes into those divine, widespread afflictions Yahweh Shah is about to bring upon this earth. And a lot of people, including 2/3 of our people within America, about to get caught up into this military draft. So that concludes the lesson through the spirit. Hopefully you all was edified, you all stay strong, keep pushing forward. Shalom.